What's up, real ones? Welcome to Let's View It, the highly entertaining, thought-provoking, also sarcastic channel on YouTube, where you can find me doing my thing, giving you controversial topics, giving you my unique opinion, cause it can be unique, and I know this, but I own this. So thank you to all my viewers and supporters for helping my channel grow and keep giving me motivation to keep making these videos. Now this next topic is going to be touchy. Why is it going to be touchy? Well, because some people are atheists, but also because some people are Christians. And what I'm about to say can possibly upset both. And the fact that I believe in God, but I don't believe in him in the way that typical religious people do, puts me in a weird category. And this video is addressing a topic of whether or not God knows the future. Now, we all know what religious people would say. So here I got a video clip of what an atheist says. So you already know. Let's view it.
God does know our future, but we have free will, meaning that our doings are not planned by God, but he knows they'll happen. So if God knows my future, that means that whatever my future is already written, and I cannot deviate from what is predetermined. If everything I do is predetermined, I don't have free will. I don't get what's so hard to understand about this. If I know 100% that you're going to order pizza tonight, you are going to order pizza. You have no choice. That is predetermined. You might feel that you're choosing, but illusion of choice is not free will. You're just playing out a script that's already been written. And if you are able to choose something other than pizza, then that means that I'm not actually all-knowing. But God supposedly has infinite knowledge that includes foreknowledge. So if even before I'm born, he knows exactly what choices I'm going to make, mind you, not believing in God isn't a choice, it's just the result of not being convinced. But that means he puts people into this world that he knew even before they were conceived would end up in hell. What kind of a cruel God would make someone just to be destined to never be saved by him? If I knew for 100% certain that if I had a child they'd end up being eternally tormented in the afterlife, I would not have that child, because it would be immoral and awful for me to do so. Also, whatever happened to God's plan? If things aren't planned out by God, then why do Christians always say that everything is part of his plan? This is just nonsensical.
So let me just say, I agree with him. If God knows everything in the future, all your future choices, everything that you're going to say and do, you cannot have free will at the same time. You can only have the perception of free will. Here's an example I always like to use. Let's say God is offering you a white rose and a red rose and says, here, choose one, and you choose the white one. Now God supposedly already knew you were going to choose the white one. So what difference would it make if God just walked up to you and said, here is a white rose. I also have red ones, but I know you want this white one. So I use that example to show the fact that that person had a choice between a white and red rose made no difference to God. He could have just gave them the white rose and saved some time, right? He can just fast forward the movie. So according to religious belief, all of our scripts have been written. We just don't know what they are. We just haven't read them. So to us, it would give us a perception of free choice. But if our destiny is pre-written, it really means you can't do nothing about it. So is it really a free choice? And I used to battle with this idea too. How could God know everything and still make evil people? He literally made Charles Manson, even though he knew he would be Charles Manson. He literally made Ted Bundy, even though he knew he would be Ted Bundy. So I struggled with this idea too. But I came to the conclusion that that's simply not possible. There is no way that God knows everything that's going to happen and literally just planned all of this. The war, the diseases, the high gas prices, the deleters, the grapists, the pedophiles, the devil, basically all things good or bad had to be credited to God. Now, if you're a religious person, you probably say, well, God works in mysterious ways. Only he knows why he does what he does. But for me, that never worked. I'm not dedicating my whole life to a belief that says,
well, you're just not supposed to know the answers.
Because to me, you're supposed to know the answers. God does not work in mysterious ways. But I know who does. The devil. So I started wondering, where do people get these ideas of God? that he works in mysterious ways. Where does it say that? Where is that documented? Nowhere that I can find. That is simply added by religion tradition. So then I started wondering, why do people think God knows the future? Why is that? Is that just because they want him to be the all-powerful, all-knowing God? And if that's so, they are still misreading and misinterpreting what words mean. So let's go over some of the most popular words that are used to describe what God is and his characteristics. The first word we're going to go over is omniscient. Omniscient is knowing everything. This is where they get the all-knowing thing from. If you go to the Merriam Dictionary, you see omniscient, it's an adjective, having infinite awareness, understanding, and insight. Number 2, possessed of universal or complete knowledge, the omniscient God. So number 2 is most likely the omniscient that most people mean, right? So let's read it again. Possessed of universal or complete knowledge. If something isn't possessed of universal or complete knowledge, does that mean they know things that haven't happened yet? Does that mean they know the future? Now, nobody in this world possesses universal or complete knowledge. That would be amazing. But we don't live long enough or have enough experiences to ever obtain something like that. Because the way you learn, the way you gain knowledge is through experience, right? That's why they say the older you get, the wiser you get. But we'll never live old enough to have complete wisdom or complete knowledge. But who does live that long? I know someone that lived very, very, very long. And matter of fact, he lived longer than all of us, been here before us, and will be here after us. And that's God. That's what all-knowing means. Let me give you an example that's more simpler that applies to our lives. As an adult, you know if you touch a stove or oven that is on, it will burn you, right? How? Through experience, through knowledge. As you got older, you learn things and now you know, hey, if I touch that, it's going to burn me. You don't have to touch it to find out. You already know. But who doesn't know? A 2-year-old, a 1-year-old. Why? Because they haven't experienced that. They don't have the knowledge. They haven't been around long enough. So as a parent, it's your job to protect them and keep them away from the hot stove. Because you already know if that child touches the hot stove, it's gonna burn. God being all-knowing doesn't mean he knows the next word that I'm gonna say. It just means he knows all of the cause and effects in the world. He understands how this world works and runs better than anybody else. He understands how life works better than anybody else. So when it comes to us and this world, he is all-knowing. He knows how we make our buildings. He knows how we make our cars. He knows everything. Everything. He knows. He is all-knowing, not a fortune teller. The future doesn't exist. It hasn't happened. It's not there. So if it's not there, is there anything to even know? That's the question. He is still all-knowing even though he doesn't know the future. The reason why religions say he knows the future is because they want his powers to be this unlimited perfection, but in the end, it just causes a bunch of contradictions. In my opinion, God is not unlimitedly powerful like that. He is not perfect like that. And in matter of fact, even if you do read the Bible and read how he created the world, it literally says he made the light and then saw it was good. He made the dark and then saw it was good. He made this and that and then saw it was good. It doesn't say God knew it was going to be good, so he made it. And one more thing to point out to make my point even stronger is that people say we are made in God's image. So if we have flaws, if we can make a mistake, why do you think God can't? We're made in God's image, but any flaw that we have, he doesn't have? That doesn't make any sense. I believe God makes mistakes. God does not know the future. It's not a big deal. He just knows everything that currently exists. So now let's go over the second word to see if this is why people think God knows the future. And the word is omnipresent. So I'm on dictionary.com. Omnipresent. Present everywhere at the same time. The omnipresent God. Again, that just means he's everywhere all at once. Not in the future. Why? Because the future is not a place. It doesn't exist. He's everywhere, here all the time. He's everywhere in real time. He's not in the past. He's not in the future. All that time travel, parallel universe stuff is just sci-fi. That stuff doesn't exist. The past doesn't exist anymore. The future doesn't exist yet. So the idea that you can get in a time machine and go either to the past, which isn't there, or to the future, which isn't there, is ridiculous. They're not there. How are you going to go to some place that doesn't exist? That's sci-fi. So omnipresent just means God is everywhere at one time in real time, not the future and not the past. Again, because those two things don't even exist. Now there's one last word that I want to go over, and maybe this is the word that make people think that God knows the future. And that word is omnipotent. Omnipotent, of a deity, having unlimited powers, able to do anything. God is described as omnipotent and benevolent. Now here's the thing. I'm going to make this one quick. Again, unlimited powers to see something that's not there, it still wouldn't make sense. But regardless of all of this, the word omnipotent isn't even in the Bible. In fact, all three words I just went over aren't even in the Bible. And that's what I try to warn religious people of. I believe in God, but religion adds all kinds of stuff that's not true through tradition. And then atheists go and attack these religions to say there is no God. And they get to do this because of all the traditional things added into religion for control, for a certain belief. Of course, a religion will want their God to be the most powerful, perfect, all-knowing, literally no flaw. If you can say it, he can do it. If you can think it, he can do it. If you can imagine it, he can do it. Why not want that type of God? It sure will make me feel better. But obviously, just by looking at the world and how things work, that's not the truth. There's no way that's the truth. And if you believe that's the truth, then you believe God created all this bad and evil on purpose. How does that settle with you well? That's why, in my opinion, he doesn't know the future. He's just trying his best. But he also has a little bit of flaws in himself too. They're not like ours because he's not evil-hearted, but they're flaws. God needs an element of surprise too. How boring of a life would it be to be God if you know everything and you control everything? You know the people that are going to hate you. You know the people that are going to love you. You know the people that are going to kill. You know the people that are going to heal. You know everything. Let's put it this way. Could you imagine if every time you watched a movie, you knew every little thing that was going to happen all the way to the end, like it's a curse you have? Every time you start watching TV or a movie, you just know everything that's going to happen. Would you still watch TV? Hell no. You think that would be the boringest, pointless crap ever. So for people who think God knows everything all the time, they also have to believe that he thinks this whole thing he created is the most boring and pointless thing ever. And one more thing I want to bring up before I end this is that God knows the future of his actions, just like we do. If we know we're going to Hawaii in 6 months, well, God knows when he's bringing this all to an end. But as far as you and your personal choices, he doesn't know what you're going to do. But now that you know, I don't believe God knows our future. All I need you guys to do is comment below. Tell me what you think. Do you think I'm full of it and God created good and evil because he works in mysterious ways? Or did I give you something possibly to think about? But while you're telling me your thoughts, I'm also going to need you to hit that bell like the hunchback. Also click that hitchhiker button and sub-ride with me. And I'll see you on the next trip.
Day and night. Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. All my life. Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. Can't help I. Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. That's why I. Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.